Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. My name is Naya Chung, and as you can tell by the title, today will be about the pros and the cons to locks. I'm making this video to help you decide whether or not you really want to lock your hair by giving you the reality to locks. Before we get into this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Help me help you. It's an even exchange, you guys, and let's get into it. I'm going to start with the pros. So to begin, one pro about locks is that your hair is always done. In my mind, locks is essentially a hairstyle on its own, so whether or not you have a retwist or not, your hair is always done in some way, and that is very convenient to wake up and always feel beautiful, always feel like your hair is somewhat done, and I really love that about locks. Another pro about locks is that when you're low on finances, this is a very less expensive maintenance kind of hairstyle and reality, which is beautiful because if you learn how to retwist your own hair, you will really not be spending anything just by having locks. And even if you go to somebody, locks tend to be not that expensive as getting braids, wigs, this and that. So, you know, it's a fairly low maintenance cost, but not even that. If you learn to do your own hair, then you really won't be spending anything. Another good thing about locks is that if you go a long time without a retwist, that is okay. Going without a retwist just thickens your locks. So honestly, you guys, it's a win-win situation because you don't always have to get your hair done. And even those moments when you decide not to, your hair is still benefiting in some way. Now you can't go too long because sometimes that will cause thinning, but going 2 to 3 months sometimes is a-okay. Another pro about locks is that you don't have to worry about going into the water. If you really like water, locks is the perfect hairstyle just because you don't have to worry about your hair tangling. You don't have to rush home and be like, oh no, you know, like it's immediately has to be a wash day. A lot of times girls, when they have like braids, wigs, sew-ins, they just don't go into the water. But with locks and with it being a natural hairstyle, you can always go to the beach, the pool, here or there with no problem. And you always are going to be able to enjoy yourself because your hair is not holding you back from being able to have fun and go in the water and go to the beach. Another pro about locks is that the beach helps your hair. It's actually beneficial to your hair. And if you're in the starter lock phase, it helps lock your hair faster. So, you know, go to the beach. Another pro about locks is that every morning you don't have to worry about doing your hair, detangling, brushing. You get to just wake up, and if you are okay with how you look just like that, that's your routine for the day. Maybe sometimes I'll just spray my hair with some water, put it up in a ponytail, but you really don't have to do anything, and that is the beauty to locks. Okay, so now let me give a little bit of cons to locks, and this one is for the girls. So with locks, you are essentially giving up the life of always getting your hair done, always having those different hairstyles. I'm not saying that with locks you can't do certain things, but what I am saying is if you are a girl who always likes to have wigs, if you are a girl who always likes to have braids, you need to switch it up all the time. Sometimes locks can be very limiting to that experience because of the fact that when your hair thickens up, it's harder for people to maybe braid down your hair and put a wig over it. It's harder for people to do box braids over your locks because now your hair is sticking through the braids. So if you really like hairstyles, if you really like getting your hair done, if you don't like looking like the same person all the time, locks may not be for you. Although with locks, as your hair grows, you could do your own hairstyles on your own hair, such as like feed-in braids going straight back. There's many lock hairstyles, but you may no longer be able to do the hairstyles that you truly enjoy. Another con about locks is that if you cannot handle the unkept look, this might not be for you. Oftentimes when you are in between retwists, your hair gets frizzy, your hair is puffy, your hair is not neat, your hair looks like this, and if you cannot handle this, then you know this is the other side of locks. It's not always about having a retwist. The other side is when you have no retwist and your roots are puffy. The reality to locks is that you experience both sides. So keep that in mind. When I don't have a retwist, I simply do hairstyles. I put my hair in a bun, and that helps me not feel like I really need a retwist. Another con to locks is that you really have to find the right loctician. A lot of people, like I always say, only know how to retwist, but they don't know about locks. So you really have to do your due diligence. You really have to make sure the person you're going to really deals with natural hair, really knows about natural products, really knows about locks, because you want your hair to be healthy. It's not always about length, but it's always about health as well. Another con to locks, especially if you're in the starter locks phase, is that it takes a long time to lock. It does not lock overnight. It really is a process. So if you're impatient, you might struggle with the lock journey because it is a long time. But guess what, you guys? The return that you get in the end is beautiful. And if you could just stick it out and stick through the journey and not comb out your locks or not take them out, then you will really be satisfied in the end. Another Another con to locks is that if you don't like wearing a cap, if you don't like wearing a durag, if you don't like wearing a lock cap or anything at night to protect your hair, you are going to struggle with lint very badly. Lint really gets into locks, so you have to protect your hair. If you're not protecting your hair, your locks will have white all within your locks. And yeah, so if you don't like wearing things on your head constantly, think about that. And if you don't like it, then I say get a silk pillow. That way you don't have to have something on your head, but what you're laying down on is protecting your hair. So let's get back to the pros. For me, a pro to locks is that anywhere you go, you stand out. Oftentimes, I'm the only girl in the room that has locks, and it just really makes people remember my name, remember my face, remember my aura, because it just attracts people since, you know, I am natural, I am locked. More women are locking their hair now, but it just makes you stand out as most women are wearing wigs, braids, this and that. But as somebody with locks, you kind of just get natural attention because people are seeing that you're really embracing your authentic self. And they also see that you're confident enough to go on this journey. And that's another pro to locks. I would say that locks really brought me confidence, even in the starter lock phase, because by your hair shrinking, by your hair not always being kept, it really taught me to love myself on the inside out. And that's why a lot of people say that locking your hair is a lock journey. It takes you on a journey of like self-love, self-confidence, really learning, really loving your hair. A lot of Black women, you know, we grew up with people always downing our hair, calling our hair ugly, calling our hair not beautiful. And I feel like locks is a way that really embraces your hair. It really embraces your love for your hair. And it really brings this idea that regardless of what your hair looks like, regardless of what texture your hair is hair, and hair that comes from your scalp is beautiful. And I have never loved my hair more. I've never loved myself more. And I'm so thankful for this lock journey that even I put myself through. Another pro to locks is that if you decide you don't want locks anymore, you can comb out your hair. It might take you a week or two, but the reality is you could take out locks if you don't like them. I have seen some people lose a lot of hair, and I have seen some people retain a lot of hair. So you never know what can happen. And even if you want to maybe put your locks back in one day, you can just cut your locks and you can just reattach them in the future. So, you know, that is definitely a pro to locks because you can always choose to start again. Another pro to locks is that if you are tired doing your loose natural hair every day, all the time, all those hard wash days, locks is so simple. It's so simple, it's so easy, it's low maintenance, and then on top of it, it's less products. All those $1 million that you are spending getting this for your hair. With locks, you really only need conditioner, shampoo, oil, water, and a spray bottle. Wash days, all those things were just not motivating to me. I could not do it. And locks, you know, it helps with lazy girls like me. Another pro about locks is that there is noticeable growth. And what I mean by that is since your hair doesn't shed and it goes into the lock, you will always be able to retain length. I know a lot of girls want length, and locks will help you achieve those goals. And another great pro about locks is that you are really joining a community. When you are out in public, you have people with locks come up to you, talk to you, wave at you, smile at you. It really is a beautiful community to be a part of. People are welcoming. They are so sweet. Oftentimes people are giving advice, telling you what to do, and it just brings you the sense of belonging through your hair. I know it sounds crazy, but really it is true. And so to end this video, I'm going to give 2 more cons about locks, and I'm going to start with lock thinning. So if you have already like fragile spots on your hair, having locks can sometimes thin your roots. So you want to make sure you're telling your loctician, or even if you're locking your own hair, you want to make sure you're aware of these like weak spots, and you want to make sure that you're creating a lock that is benefiting to those areas, especially as your hair grows, it gets heavier. So make sure that when you choose how you want to lock your hair, how you're going to go about the sizing of your hair. And even so, if you experience lock thinning through whatever period of your life, you can always combine locks together and make them one. So that is the beauty of locks. Another con about locks I will say is if you're somebody who likes to constantly dye your hair, locks may not be for you, especially if you like blonde. Every person who I have known that dyed their hair through bleach and made their hair blonde, their locks have literally fell out. And that is a good 5 people. Every single person, they always tell me, don't dye your hair, keep your hair black, don't do it. Even though, you know, it might not happen to you, everything's a risk, but I just want to say, like, being a loose natural, your hair might be safer to dye, or especially bleach. But with locks, you have to understand you're locking your hair for years, your hair is growing for years, and who wants their hair to just come out and fall out due to you just making the decision to bleach it? So be very cautious that even if you do bleach your hair, you know, maintain it, keep your hair moisturized, really upkeep it with locks because locks are very fragile. So if you want to just bleach your hair, I say get that out before you join the lock community. I don't really know much about dyeing. Of course, dyeing your hair as well, it comes with like damage to some extent, but I've seen people dye their hair. I think it's really just about maintenance at that point. I'm not going to say I don't or do recommend it. I would just say that it is a con if your hair does not react well to these dyes, to these bleaches, that you have the potential to lose your locks. So you really do want want to think about that. You might want to get your little dyeing era out the way before you come to the lock community. I don't know if I would ever dye my hair one day. I know I would never bleach it at least, but you know, sometimes the thought crosses my mind, but I always think about the health of my hair. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned pros and cons to locks. I hope I really gave you a real concrete idea. I love having locks. I tell myself I probably will never take them out. I am one of those girls who think I'm gonna be 80 years old with locks. So yeah, welcome to the journey if you decide. Hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I make content about my hair sometimes, mom life. I am a young mom. I got pregnant at 19. I had my son at 20. And I'm also a 2L in law school. And I make content just showing that. Thank you guys for watching and have a beautiful day.